to you. Forever. One more time, I'm committed to you. Forever and ever and ever. Oh, forever and ever and ever. Forever. Let me tell you. Forever and ever and ever. Forever and ever and ever. Forever and ever and ever. Somebody, hear the Lord say, forever and ever and ever. Forever and ever and ever. Forever and ever and ever. That's how long your love. Forever is a long time. That's how long I'll love you. That's how long I'll love you. You got to remind yourself at times when it seems like everybody's falling off, God never will. Can we just sing that together? Because I want you to implant this in your spirit. When you're driving home today, you got to remember, He still loves me. Say, forever is a long time. That's how long I love you. That's how long I love you. Forever. Come on, you say it. That's how long I love you. That's how long I love you. Forever. Sing it again real loud. Sing. Sit down and endure all this pain. Sherry been talking long enough, and nothing has brought a change. So I'm gonna join with you as you join with me. Change things so every color and race of people can be free. It's time to stand up for what you know is right. Stand up and don't you forget to fight. Stand up for what you believe in. we're dealing with so many things in the world today. This thing is global. We're talking about hatred and viruses and, brutality and young folks losing their life. We still got we got the brain coming together, y'all.
Maybe it'll be home a little while.
Said I need some hand.
Huh?
As this turns to politicians, so help me God. So we need the teachers, sing the musicians. Yeah. We need to come together and take the stand. Mothers, college students, the community.
It's a political party. It's not.
Come on, everybody, come on in. Everybody, come on. United States of America. We gotta show some love and we got to stand.
We'll see.
We got to come together and stand. We got to come together and stand. You and me, brother. You and me, sister. I pray for you. You pray for me. God helps us stand. God helps us stand. In the Christ, he is a new creature. All things are passed away. All things are passed away. If in the Christ, he is a new creature. Behold, all things have become new. If in the Christ, he is a new creature. All things are passed away. All things are passed away. If in the Christ, he is a new creature. Behold, all things have become new. If in the Christ, he is a new creature. All things are passed away. All things are passed away. If in the Christ, he is a new creature. Behold, all things have become new.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Mother Georgia, she's back on live, the historic 980 WDDO. All of a sudden, let's go live into the studio with our host, Brenda Sutton.
And hello. Hey, Emily, how you doing?
Hey.
Look at you. You look, how was your opening this weekend?
It was great. It was fantastic. It was a lot because it was raining, on and off all day. So I think it deterred some of the people from coming out. But all in all, it was a good day.
Well, I'm glad. I was over there, guys. It was really nice. We're glad to have her back in Macon. Let me tell you, we're just glad to have you back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back. I missed Macon. I was really, really, really glad to be back. I'm excited. So hopefully I'll get, the support that I need from my Macon people. So yeah, I was glad to be back.
Where is old fathead John?
I don't know, but I can't see you. Let me try to figure out.
Well, I can see you though. You look real pretty. You've got on your pretty thing and everything. And so
thank you. Let's see here.
Jackson, thank you for doing this. I appreciate you. Look who chair he's sitting in.
I'm sitting in the big chair. I'm sitting in Big Mama chair.
Oh,
Is that how you be? When you go, you be in big mom. Get it. You can't sit in that chair.
that is so how what Mother's Day really is, a lot of people make a big deal out of these holidays and stuff. I'm telling you, I was feeling kind of bad. I ain't giving that energy nothing, but I was. And but I was just glad to see the children and get well wishes and stuff like that. There's some people out there who holidays are just really, really hard for them,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
the ain't there, and or the members that they have ain't members they want to keep. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
some of mothers have been passed away, so I do realize Mother's Day is hard for a lot of people. But I came across this article, and it was a mother that was kind of complaining, and she was saying, what happened to, back in the day when we were kids, we made Happy Mother's Day cards, at school. And so you take them home and, give it to your mom, and they use construction paper, and all that good stuff. And so a lot of teachers and a lot of schools have not gotten
yeah,
away with, done away with doing that. And so the guy responded and said, well, uh, families are not traditional families anymore. You have families that have two dads, two moms, or two females, two males, transgender parents. So in order to be equal, or to create equality, we just, instead of the card saying Happy Mother's Day, it just say Happy Special Persons Day.
what now?
So what do y'all think about that?
Let me
I
just.
think that is ridiculous.
Me too, Johnny. Johnny, we agree. We agree that it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Stay inside now. I'm on the phone. Don't go nowhere. You come over here and tell everybody, hey, she been wanting to be on the radio, and so she come over here and tell them, hey, tell them, hey, come, hurry up now, cause we can't have no dead time on the air. Stick your head in. Hi.
Hello there.
Hey,
Okay.
Denver, even though I can't see anybody,
Oh, you can't?
I can
Oh,
see you, Johnny, but I can't see Brenda.
Oh,
oh.
wow.
Well, I can see
Mhm.
everybody, but you know what, Johnny, you had some interesting points, and like I said last week, you know, um, I just had I really thought that it was, kind of harsh, but some of this stuff they out of control. Special day,
Mhm.
Denver came home and we made Mother's Day cards. That's what she and I did as an activity. So we just
Mhm.
kind of like, that's what we did.
Mhm.
That was kind of nice,
I
and
guess, hey, Brenda, I make a
what?
lot of understand it better by and by statements around you, I see. Because 2 months or 3 years later, she'll go, you know what, Johnny, I see what you were saying. So those understand it better by and by statements come from me to you.
Okay.
Mm.
Y'all know I can't see comments or anything like that, Judge. So,
Well, so Sharon Hurt said, so do I. It's ridiculous.
it is, they
Mhm.
got to put on their special person. I saw one little person on there, one little kid talking about, I got two mamas and stuff. And I got, I really and truly, this thing is out of control. I know I may lose some people on that, but it's out of control. You got two mamas, two daddies. You don't know,
Mhm.
they're cheering, some of them confused. So,
Mhm.
Denver made all mama's cards. She wasn't confused, okay? That's what she did. She made one for her mother that's in a nursing home, one for her stepmama, and then she made one for her godmama.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So, she understood the assignment.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying, and Johnny, I sent you uh, 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 um, a TikTok where this boy was his transgender guy, and he was just striking out people. On the
Mhm.
girls' team, he kept throwing strikes, and he
Oh,
was
he was playing
transgender.
baseball. He was playing
Yeah,
softball
he's
with
like
the
6 feet.
females.
Yeah, he's like
Oh,
6 feet among them females and tearing them up. So we can talk about that another day. Y'all know Danny Glover's supposed to be on the show. I don't know where he is. Have I know he said I told him to be there at 5:35.
there he is.
There you go. See, you was already talking junk, and here he go right there.
Way
That's
to
see,
go, way to go. See, waiting in the shadows, waiting for it, Miss B. How's everybody
that's
doing?
right.
Big
Good. How are
Blue,
you?
Big Blue.
you better know it, baby.
Oh, I forgot. Emily, you're
Tennessee
gonna
State
have
is
it
in the
because those
building,
are
baby.
tears.
Tennessee State is in the building.
Oh
TSU.
Lord.
Oh no, it's gonna be a mess.
Hey,
Those
listen,
two.
Brenda,
What?
this is the true story. I'm a little ashamed to say it, not only because I was at church, but I am a preacher's son at that. So one Sunday, the guys had to sing, and we was, gonna line up and walk in. And so, the spirit was high, and the fellas started singing, I'm so glad. And I said, I go to TSU. And, and it was supposed to be, I'm so glad that Jesus said,
Lifted me.
and that's what it was supposed to be. But I was like, I went to TSU, and it was
Because you a
another one.
heathen. Because you a
You
heathen.
ain't hit the
At
wave,
that
did you,
moment,
man? You ain't hit the wave, did you not?
I did.
You know, for those that don't know, Danny, and I didn't get your credentials and things like that for you to introduce yourself on being bad. For those that are out there, y'all know I got a bad eye and I can't see that good. So, Danny, tell us a little bit about yourself for our listeners who may not know, because keep in mind, our broadcast goes to Albany, Washington County,
Yeah.
whereas Fort Valley, Crawford,
Forsyth. Yeah, it
Forsyth,
goes to several counties around.
several
Yeah.
counties around. So, whereas
But hold up, Brenda, hold up.
What?
That's just the radio broadcasting.
That's
The
true.
Facebook goes all over the world. You
Yes,
know what I
sir.
mean? Yeah, so that's YouTube, Twitter is everywhere. So
That's
we're
true.
really universal. Yeah.
That's true. Well,
Yeah.
Danny,
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on with y'all today. My name is Danny Glover, and I'm a candidate for Congress here in Georgia's 2nd Congressional District. As Ms. Brenda stated, that district covers parts of Bibb County, parts of Muskogee, Columbus, parts of Albany, all of Albany, Doherty, and about 25 other counties stretching from Bibb all the way down to Thomasville, all the way across to Chattahoochee County. So it's a very, very expansive district, but it's a task that I feel like I'm up for the challenge. A little bit about me, man. I was born with responsibility, as my grandma used to say back in the day. But I've been involved in community, involved in politics since about the age 7. My granddaddy was a man by the name of Willie Smokey Glover. If you've been down to Luther Williams Field, you'll see the street named after him and a bronze plaque that talks about his 45 years of meticulous care of that park and particularly Luther Williams Field. And so that's where kind of like my labor of love for this community began, is seeing him work and talk with the trash men, seeing him treat the county employees like human beings. Like he would, when the trash man would come pick up our trash on Knott Street, he would take them water, he'll take them fruit, he'll give them vegetables for them to go, hey man, take some of these tomatoes, switch, while y'all going. So I saw that at an early age. And so I had a chance to run across a guy by the name of, I don't know if y'all heard of C. Jack Ellis. When he was running for his first administration as mayor here in Macon in the 2000s, he came by my grandmother's house on Knott Street with a canvas crew, about maybe 10, 15 people. And I just remember seeing him at a young age, like, wow, like, who is this man? Like, how is he able to get these folks to help knock on doors? And so I asked my grandma, hey, can I go with them? She asked Jack, is it cool? He said, yeah. And so we knocked on doors up Knott Street, up Jeff Davis. And from then, I've just been trying to help my community, because one thing that I live on is when you recognize something as a problem or issue, it's your job to solving and addressing that issue. You can choose to ignore it and move on and leave it for someone else. But I've chosen to wreck my brain and recognizing problems and trying to fix them. So I'm a son of Title I schools here in Macon. I went to Carver Head Start over on the east side. I went to Ingram Pie Elementary School, Wildcats. I went to McAvoy Middle School. I went to Southwest High School, where I was drum major and a whole bunch of other stuff.
You're a drum major.
I went to Oh yeah, well, I was a drum major. You got to check my videos out, man. I did, I still got it in me and all that good stuff. So marching band was my gateway outside of my academics, but marching band was truly my gateway to college and Tennessee State University. So
you were over there under Oscar Jackson?
I was actually under Marcus Bowden and Jonathan Thompson, who's the band director at Fort Valley now.
Okay.
So I went to Tennessee State and did what you want Macon folks to do. Did what you want hometown folks to leave their home, go to their university, and make the best of it. Take advantage of every opportunity, every experience. And I did just that. So I had a chance to march a member of the aristocratic bands. I was the president of my dorm in freshman year, president of my dorm my sophomore year. I was speaker of the house for SGA. I was SGA vice president. I was a Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, Alpha Theta, and then as the 70th Student Government Association president, where I had a chance to do some really, really big stuff. And so from TSU, and I'll try to speed this up a little bit, I moved back to Macon and started getting involved. TSU, we have a motto, enter to learn, go forth to serve. And so I went back home. I came back home to serve. I ran for city council unsuccessfully, but stayed involved in the party, stayed involved in the community. I became the youngest chairman of the Bibb County Democratic Party, where we did some really, really huge things during that 2012 Obama midterms, where we brought more folks into the party. We brought more younger people into the party. We brought more faces that may not look like the people on this call into the party, because at the end of the day, Democrats are Democrats, and we needed more voices in order to expand that message. And then throughout that process, I tapped in on a talent that I never knew I had, and that was strategy and building field plans and mobilizing people, whether it's for a candidate or whether it's for a particular issue or whether it's for an activism cause. That gift was kind of sparked in me, and from there I started working on campaigns. And so I've had a chance to work on every single level, local, state, and federal. Haven't had a chance to win on presidential yet, but I've had work with folks across this community, from Nikki Randall to Miriam Paris.
I saw
yes, ma'am.
you. I don't know if y'all, the people out there that are listening. I saw Daddy. I don't know if you did, Johnny. He was it the New York? What newspaper was that? You was like big time up there with Bernie.
Well, that's New York Times. New York Times, NBC Black. So with that particular, so she's referring to the, I was a Bernie Sanders guy. So I was his national HBCU outreach director for the Bernie Sanders campaign. And in my capacity as director, we were able to build the first ever HBCU tour amongst colleges. So we were able to, so typically what campaigns did, they went to one college hour, and that was kind of like their HBCU outreach. What we did with Bernie, we went to multiple schools. We went to Tennessee State. We went to Tougaloo College down in Mississippi. We went to South Carolina State in Orangeburg. We FAMU down in Tallahassee. So UMES, University of Maryland Eastern Shores. We was up at Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. So we were able to really engage students, particularly Black students, in a way that presidential campaigns never engaged them before. And so from there, that's when kind of like, I guess you can say, my kind of higher level clients came, and I started working with good folks like Sharon Hurt, who's on the call right now. She's one of my clients from Nashville that I helped elect twice as city council at large. And she ran a great race for mayor, had a chance to work and elect the mayor of Denver twice, and served as the senior advisor for a year during the COVID years. I switched over and helped push Raphael Warnock, Senator Warnock, across the finish line in 2021, working with 501c3 organization Move On. We were able to work in Macon, Augusta, Columbus, all of these places that are typically overlooked, well, not overlooked, underlooked.
But Danny,
we were able to bring their attention here.
But I got a question for you, because I know that I want to know, because a lot of times I've heard that these young people don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, and you have it sounds like you know what you're doing. So help me understand what made you decide to run for and run up against an incumbent. How long Sanford Bishop been there?
30 plus years. 30 plus years. And what I'm gonna do is I'll address the first part first. You see how how to notice how you just said, these young people don't know anything. I know you're just posing a question, but even just the way you pose that question, there's ages.
Hello?
That not saying your ages, but imagine if we were to pose that.
You're here.
Yeah, I just want to talk about just the way we frame that question. Like, it's totally okay to tell a young person you're too young, you don't know enough, you don't know your history, all of these stuff that has nothing to do with, do you have the education? Do you have the experience? Have you talked to people? But the number one thing that most folks that are elders in this community and this state, they are ages towards younger people by blocking them, by saying they're too young. Instead of saying you're too young, say, hey, come here, let me teach you this. Instead of saying you don't know your history, sit them down and say, hey, here's how it actually went down. And regardless of how you feel about the issue, these are the facts. And so the reason why I decided to run is not about anything, no young versus old, even though that's what the narrative that seems to be out there. I'm running because this district and what's happening in DC directly affects the people I care and love most in this world. That's my mom and my 3 other siblings. You know, Miss Brenda, but to your viewers, you know, I didn't have a typical background, and this is not like a sorrowful or sad story, but this is just my reality that I've been faced to live with. So my mom was born, you know, she was my grandmother's special child. You know, she couldn't read, write, or do math on her appropriate level. You know, she's normal just like you and I, but when it comes down to those functional skills that it takes to actually be a functioning citizen, she can't do that. She can't go and work a job 9 to 5. But and we all know y'all work jobs and retire from jobs. You know what comes along with that. And so Social Security has been there not as a lifeline, but as a safety net to, you know, to catch her. And so that same thing is replicated amongst my siblings. My older sister, my younger sister, and my younger brother, they all have the same disability. So I'm the only person without it. So from an early age, I've been filling out, you know, from as early as middle school, filling out Social Security papers, you know, looking over my grandma's shoulder to make sure that I saw her, you know, how she was doing it. So when it came time for me to do it, I already knew. But one thing I learned is that, you know, that's a very, very meticulous process. You can't miss anything. You got to get this money, you know, and make sure that it's, you know, everything is okay. You really have to follow that process. And so that's why I'm running. When I hear about what's happening in DC. Y'all hear about it. Y'all hear about the cuts. Y'all hear about Social Security offices closing. And I have no choice but to think about the people that I love the most in this world. And then that's the same thing across this district. Over 160,000 people in Georgia's 2nd Congressional District receive Social Security benefits. That's almost $264 million per month that's paid out for folks in this district. And when you break that, yes, sir.
Hold on.
Hey, Danny. It was a very interesting question and synopsis that Brenda proposed, and I always really take that to heart about the age, about the young versus old, and I've never really put much in. I just think that the person best qualified, no matter how old they are, should be the person in that place. I'm not for a young movement. I'm not for an older senior movement. I'm for the person who can make a difference movement, no matter how old they are. And it's the why, it's the what, you know, and it's like, why are you doing it? Because you care, seems to be what your motive is, that you care of what happens. And then what will you do? It matters so much. And then what we want to know, you can tell us what you want to do, but how are you going to do it? So then are you going to sell us on how you can do it? And so those are the things that really so much matter to us. And well, to people like me, I don't want to say us. And then I also want to say, you know, there's a little sideboard joke here. A moment ago, you said, you know, that everybody's not normal like you and Brenda. I think that's an objective statement.
I'll receive that. I'll receive that. But you know, since we're on Glory FM, you know, I don't know that the exact verse in our Bible. It says, you know, you need the wisdom, you need the youth and the energy of the young people, and so that's what I believe. Like, I mean, anybody that knows me, and I hope to get to know folks in this district, so that we're not taking, you know, secondhand information about it. But anybody that truly knows me knows that I love my elders. Like I literally love my elders. Like I mean, little old ladies don't stand no chance around me. They can't move. I'm opening the door. You know, I'm making sure they good. Like, because I mean, my grandma is a special place in my heart. Like I said, she raised me. I was in my mama's house, but she raised me and taught me my skills and really instilled that love and compassion in me. And so once I lost her in 2014, you know, I'm not saying that I've been trying to replace her through other folks, but I see her in helping other folks like her, you know, her age. I ain't gonna say Miss Brenda yet, because you know,
you better
you got to be in trouble, son.
Y'all better get it.
You better
get it. You see, I don't know. I think I'm political, but you know, Danny is a political machine. Okay, he really is, and I
Well, he's been involved. He's been involved.
He's been involved. Emily,
Yeah.
you know that you can't outwork him.
Hmm.
Listen, for
You can't
those of
outwork
us,
him now.
for
Because he's
those of
gonna be
us,
out there. He gonna have his boots on the ground, you
for
know.
Man, when I
And,
tell
those
you
of
and I
this,
us,
can,
man, it's going to be boots on the ground all over this. One thing about, like you said, Miss Brenda, I mean, I may not have all the corporate donations, the super PACs lined up and all that good stuff. But one thing I will guarantee you is every door in this district going to be knocked. You're gonna feel a campaign. You're gonna like we haven't had a campaign that really just touched the hearts, minds, and and just the visions of the people of this district in so long. Again, safe leadership is fine, but safe leadership doesn't get more people coming to vote. It doesn't expand the electorate like we need it to do. And just to get into the numbers, so it wasn't only just Social Security. I look going ahead and say, hey, something's gonna happen. I'm not seeing the type of work or the type of action that I needed. And so I started to look at it to see if it made sense, to see what was happening. And so with pulling the historical data, this district was carved always to be a black blue Democrat district that's south of Atlanta that goes straight through Georgia's Black Belt, or what have you. And so when in 1992, when or 93, when the congressperson first got in there, the Democratic Performance Index, the DPI, was 63%, meaning regardless of who was on the ballot, Democrats were coming out 63% of that voting age population of folks who were registered in that district were going to vote. We've seen that DPI decline steadily and drastically from 1992 up until present day, where it's sitting at 53%. 53% is scary. 53%.
let me ask you this, Danny. Why do you think that Democrats are not going out to vote? Because that's real interesting. Why do you think the people are not voting?
We're not talking to them. We're not talking to them. We're ignoring them. Democrats, and not just in this district, but in the state and in this country. And I can say this as a past party chairman and somebody that's worked to elect Democrats all over the country and in multiple spaces from rural to to urban and suburban. We're not actually talking to people. We are talking at people. We are selling fear. We're not selling prosperity. We're not selling opportunity. We're not selling a future. And again, we can only do so much with fear mongering. We can only do so much with painting the darkest picture with the hopes that that's going to motivate folks to come out. Like, again, we're living in some very, very draconian, grim times right now. And folks should be, and I say they should be tuned in, but they're not. And we have to wrestle with the fact of them not being involved and not being in tune. And we have to push that back on ourselves. Like, are we having enough conversations with folks that aren't in our immediate circles?
Danny, how old?
Hey, hold on.
See,
Hey, Danny.
Yes, sir.
I think that what you just said is something I was sitting there thinking about is communication. Yep. And it's like you said that we have to be able to communicate. I'm paraphrasing. You have to be able to communicate with people outside of our circle.
Yep.
So that means we have to be able to communicate with people who don't speak our vernacular, who don't speak, who don't have the linguistic gifts that we have. And I think that's how a lot of people miss on getting people to come into what they're seeking to provide for them, because they don't understand what they're talking about. So we have to learn how to communicate better as politicians. I think that's how a lot of politicians miss out on their goals, is because they are speaking with their using their big words to make it simple, doing all of that, and instead of concentrating on being understood. So I think there are a lot of them miss out. And then I say this one more thing and I stop. One thing about it, anybody that's listening that went to an HBCU, they know that if you were helping out FAMU, that you have put your individual aspirations aside, that you are for everybody to be better. Because anytime we put our stuff
orange
aside,
and green. Oh, hey, I don't know that. Hey, I don't know about that.
Hey, Lillian.
but you were saying that you opened doors down at FAM during the Bernie Sanders campaign and all that. That lets me know, and anybody else in that circle know, that it wasn't about Danny, it wasn't about TSU, it was about us as a people holistically, that we need to come together and help each other.
I mean, and one of the things that quotes I live by is like, it is only when you forget yourselves that you do things which deserve to be remembered. And so,
Yep.
like, contrary to what folks may think, like, I'm not running around here doing stuff for me. Like, anybody that classes and chosen people over me, sometimes to my detriment or whatever. But that's something that I have to live
I agree with
with.
you on that one, Danny.
Yes, ma'am. But again, just like let's like a wise person once said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll eventually get what you want along the way. And so my heart's always this ain't been a journey to build the best resume to say that I did this and that. This has really been a learning journey. Like when I left making or the times I have left making, be able to go out and work in other places. It's because I wanted to go and learn how other communities were doing it. I wanted to go and learn how other communities were addressing issues, so that I can come back to my hometown with that knowledge, with that practical experience on these issues and work with them. And so I'm bringing all of that into this race. I'm leveraging all of those skill sets. I'm leveraging all of those connections so that we can push this district forward. And I truly feel like our best days lie ahead. But when I tell you there is so much untapped potential in this district, and it lies in the people that we're not talking to. Disadvantaged.
I really do. For those that are listening, I don't know if you Johnny, do you remember Sarah Hunt?
Yes, of course I do.
Sarah Hunt, Dan, I know you do.
That's my girl. That is my RIP to my leader, Queen Mother Sarah Hunt.
Let me tell you something. But Sarah Hunt said something very powerful. She said to me, and we were talking, and she said, every vote counts. She said, even them, what she called it, even in them little towns and things like that. And she always felt that we did not reach the people the way that we should have, which is why we were losing elections. Because Sarah Hunt would go up under a rock. To find people to vote. Let me ask you this. I know you're running against an incumbent. Maybe this is not the question. I don't really know. But what makes you different than, say, the incumbent? Why should he be fired? Should I ask that question? Danny, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I think the connection kind of slipped a little bit. What did you say, Ms. B?
Okay. Why should we fire the incumbent?
I don't think we're not firing the incumbent. We're hosting the state's largest retirement party in his honor, and that retirement party is going to be May 2026, and he's going to be celebrated. We're going to honor him for all of the great stuff he's done for this district and all the people he's touched all over the place. So this isn't a fire. This is a retreat across a golden bridge that we're going to build for him to retreat back across. And I say that with true sincerity. Like, I want him to be honored in the years following this race. I want his legacy to be held up. So yeah, this is going to be the biggest darn. I can't say. It's going to be the biggest darn retirement party that you're going to see. And I truly feel that he's worthy. He's worthy of it.
That is one of the biggest walls. You got to familiarity and tradition. It has become for his service. And so familiarity is a great wall that you have to break down in order to succeed that guy.
Yes,
and the Democratic Party, when I ran for office, and of course I lost, but that's okay, But one of the things that it does, which I don't like, and I won't say it on air, is that they have their picks and chooses, and they don't care if you run on the Democratic ticket. They help who they want to help. Yeah, I'm putting it right out here so everybody can hear it. If you're not a part of that clique, even though you're running on the Democratic ticket, I did not get as much support as I should have from the party. Now, I just have to say it. And I don't know. I know you can't say it, Danny, because because you're running. But I just think the Democratic Party needs to be very careful and treat everybody the same and not try to block people from running from office because of familiarity. You understand what I'm saying, John? Just because they know them, just because they've been in office, it's not fair to do that. Whatever you do for Sanford Bishop, you need to do for Danny.
I agree, Miss B. And again, I know he's an incumbent. Like, I'm not, it's not lost to me that he's been in office. And again, with that incumbency comes certain access to spaces. I'm not asking for access to spaces that I haven't earned. I haven't been in office 30 years, so I'm not asking the party to, give me access to spaces or whatever. All I'm asking for is neutrality, especially amongst party officials or whatever. One of the things that people are tired of, they are tired of rigging primaries. They're tired of cheating and tipping the scale in primaries when we should be, choosing, and assessing who's the best person, opposed to, tipping the scale in the favor of one, because you can't fight democracy in DC and want to fight Trump and how he's tearing up the Constitution, and then you go down to the local level and you're advocating for it. Our leaders have to be real careful that they're not taking on the same tactics that they're fighting in DC here in District 2.
I agree.
Sounds powerful.
Well, Dan, you know what, Danny, we had you on. I wanted you on here because I wanted you to tell the folk out there, because some people ain't like me listen to the TikTok news. Y'all know I be listening to the TikTok news.
But
all right, Emily. So what? Look here. So we're gonna take taxpayer money and we're gonna bring South Africans over here as refugees. They're gonna get all kind of jobs and everything else. Daddy, have you heard anything about that? About those?
Of course, I've been following that since its inception, about maybe 8 months to a year ago, bringing the Afrikaners over there over proposed discrimination that they're receiving, even though that there's 70% of the landowners in a majority black nation that was once an apartheid nation. That math ain't mathing. You don't get to hold and subjugate an entire country for 30 to 50 plus years. Take over all the resources in the land. Take the story that we've seen here in America, in Georgia, with our families having land and having that land taken from them. So that's the exact same thing that's happening in South Africa. And South Africa has a leader. The name escapes me now, but they have a leader that's not going for it. They have a leader that's pushing. I ain't gonna say equitable practices of it, but they're pushing fairness. Like, it doesn't make sense to be majority nation and 70%, 80% of the land is owned by white South Afrikaners, not South Afrikaners. And so I'm totally against their relocation in the United States. And again, when it comes down to a lot of the global issues, I just want to touch on this a second. We got a lot of work we got to do here. Like, I understand our place in the world and where we fit or whatever, but we cannot continue to spend majority of our time, energy, effort, and the precious resources that we don't have in being involved across the world. We got to take care of home first. We got to take care of Georgia first. We got to take care of District 2 first.
I agree.
Well, I agree with that so much. And I think that's one of my greatest complaints about making in so many different areas, even down to the news telecast. The news telecast from our three major stations here, ABC, NBC, and CBS. When I watch the local news, they open with Warner Robins, with Fort Valley, with Forsyth, with Dublin, more oftentimes than they do with what's happening in Macon, Georgia. And I think, let me leave that alone. I'll leave that alone.
No, I totally get it. And which is why I support new media. I support folks like Miss Brenda and folks that are doing podcasts. I think LJ Malone and Tia have a new podcast. We have to balance out if we're not seeing enough of what we should see, or if the stories that we want pushed through, like those local stories, we have to start, I'll do this every single Monday from 30. So you're doing what needs to be done in terms of creating new media to get this information out there. So, if I had a hat on, I'd take it off to you, good brother. But one thing I do want to mention, in addition to Social Security, I care about expanding Medicaid. I think that, we can't afford to have a congressperson that's not making that one of the most pivotal issues that they're advocating for in DC. It's a huge issue when it comes down to our state. 9 hospitals have closed since 2010. 3 of which are in this district. And so we're lucky. Our hospital isn't in danger of being closed, but those closures do affect us, because if you're in a surrounding county that's in the district that's closer to Macon, now that hospital, emergency room, now the folks from, let's just say, Peach County, or Baker County, now they're traveling across the state to another hospital because they don't have access to that level 1 trauma care that they may need or what have you. And so when hospitals close, you lose access to healthcare. A mother carrying a baby to term, she goes in labor once she's at term. Her hospital drive goes from 7 to 10 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on where she is. My grandma had a stroke that I was there for, and I knew then, I have 5 to 11 minutes in order to get, the hospital call, the ambulance call, get them here and get her there before anything cognitively start being affected with her. Imagine if we didn't have the medical center and we had to drive all the way, 45 minutes somewhere for that care. And so my heart is with our rural counties. Like, I know what it means for.
I do too. I tell you what, my heart is with healthcare. and just really a lot of other things. I wanted to have you on here. It was personal for me because I felt like, a lot of these young people, I'm crazy about you, Jalen, Scott. It's some other ones. But these are some local, but they're young people who are out here trying to do. And I think we need to help them. That's what I think, Johnny. I think we need to try to help them get their message out. And think that's what elders should do, Emily. You're an elder. You should help get the message out. Just kidding.
Am I an elder now?
I knew she'd wake up then.
Yes, she did.
She just don't put you in elder status, Emily.
I mean, I guess so.
But now she is in knowledge, though. She's a griot because she passes along knowledge.
She
and
does.
That's what we are lacking so much in our culture are the griots.
But
We are.
and everybody on here, I'm 37, y'all. Like, I mean, I understand I'm younger, but I'll be 40 years old in 3 years. And so
you never once heard me refer to you as young, Danny. That's Brenda.
But my point
not
is
me.
37, but still, it is your.
I mean, 30s is young.
It is.
Okay, here we go.
It is your group, though, Daddy.
Y'all still got me in children's church. Okay, I got it. Bet.
Wait, but you didn't hear what Johnny said. Johnny said once you hit 35, it's over.
It's over.
And you know what, Danny? The other piece of that is a lot of people your age are apathetic and they're not voting. They're not engaged. And that's why I'm kind of excited to see people your age, because I'm 30 some years older than you. But I'm excited.
Tell us your age, Bryn. Tell us.
I thought she was gonna say she's
Might as well
30.
go and drop it in the chat.
But I think that I have an obligation to provide a platform for Danny.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
for others his age or others, just other people out there, because so often we get that same old story. I'm just going to say this. I've heard from people and they said, we don't know. Some of the young people don't know history. I know history like better than most.
Okay. How many times we don't talk about history? Like how many times we don't talk about it and like, I mean, I know that's right. They pejoratively say I don't know history, and that's just kind of a shot. But when I tell you, sit down and have a conversation with me. We can talk about it.
But let me say this. Brenda knows history because she was there. Those that actually were a part of the Underground Railroad, those are the people that we need. We need those people around to continue those stories.
You just couldn't help
yourself. And like Sherry said, she looks good for her age. Now
look. She does. She does. I mean, she fought alongside Harriet Tubman. So, we got to give her credit.
Let me just say this because you guys, let me say this because you guys can't see this. But Sharon Hurt says, absolutely, Miss Brenda. That's what we need, the help of seasoned community. You can all do it. Danny cannot do it alone. Also, Sharon Hurt says, you look great, Brenda. You must have paid her. And then Denise Bryant says,
paid advertising.
Is a white South African. And so there are a lot of comments. And let me just say, the phone number here, if you want to call in and join in, is 478-250-1444. That's 478-250-1444. We'd love to have you call in, Scott or Hurt or Denise Bryant, either one of you guys call in.
And let me just say, you're never going to agree with everything that a politician does. I ain't going to agree with everything Danny do. But, I don't agree with everything that anybody does. I have my own mind. But I think it's important that we, like I said, provide a platform. And also when it comes to history, knowing history, a lot. Let me just say this about this. Down in Daugherty County, that's Albany, right?
Yeah,
The church down there, Mount Zion. I can't think. Dr. Simmons, Reverend Simmons, have a class and on Saturdays to teach the local children Black history. Okay, they're actually out there doing it. They're not depending on a system that suppressed them. They're out there making a mark themselves. So to me, if we're going to run our mouth and say the young people don't know, then we need to make sure that we provide a venue to teach them. That's what I think. I mean, and I think that's, that's just what it is. It is what it is. You need to do it instead of just talking about it.
And while I don't think I know all. I mean, I ain't saying I'm just the foremost expert on all things Black history or historical, references here in Macon, but I do think I know enough to be able to offer myself in this community. I know about, the folks that have paved the way. Like, again, these are the folks, like, to say I don't know my history is to deny my entire childhood. Like, these are literally the men and women that I looked up to growing into this community. Like, the reason why I want to do this right now is because of the example I saw as a kid. And so watching them, emulating them, taking throwing out the bad, keeping the good. I've learned from everybody, even some of my worst adversaries, or what have you. I still learn from them. I still think Elaine Lucas is one of the best organizers in the city. I still think David Lucas, can master a budget and can find dollars like no other person in this state. Like, these are all people, regardless of how they feel about me. I still hold them for the work they've done in this community to great esteem. And so I'm going to always, give that coming back. It's never, I don't care what they say in the church, I love you and I don't care what nobody says, or Jesus love you, I don't care. I respect these people and I don't care what they say. And
by
I
the
don't care
way,
how they feel.
and there's no better person than Elaine. Elaine know her stuff. I respect Elaine. I respect David. I really do.
Yeah.
And that's just the bottom line, because they have given a lot over the years.
Yep.
And we don't agree on everything politically. We would never agree on everything. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say this fallacy that I got to agree with everything they do, that's not going to work.
And I mean, I'm not to get into the spell, like, since we talk about history, like I said, I've worked for David and both Elaine on their campaigns. We worked together. Even before when she started at school, I was in her office helping her. In the office doula stuff. Some of my first campaign flyers that I made when I ran for office in 2011, I printed them on her laptop. On her computer in her office or whatever. And like you said, we get to that one point where we may not agree on something, and then all of a sudden everything else goes out the window. And again, it shouldn't be like that. Like,
it shouldn't be that way. And it's really bad like that in Macon. If you're not a part of the clique, now I'm not a part of the clique, and it's okay, because I do what I believe to be right. That's what I do.
Hey, Sherry, I'm bringing the fish fry back for sure. This summer it's coming. I'm gonna release the details, but we got the one big fish fry coming back, and also the Great Collard Green giveaway. And I'm also trying to do a Christmas giveaway this year. So we back in the city, baby. And and again,
you need to talk to Johnny, because Johnny has an organization he works with that they give away coats. Johnny, you still doing that and masks? You need to get with Danny so that y'all can do that.
The Power of Life Foundation.
The Power of Life.
Another thing I want to talk about, Miss Brenda, out migration. So I'm 37, and so having traveled across the place and seeing other things that's attracting younger people, we got to start bringing those amenities to this district. And so using technology right now, harnessing AI to our benefit. One of the ideas, and again, this isn't fully fleshed out, but I've always got a big picture idea. One of the big picture ideas I got for stopping the out migration of young people. So just to give you a stat, we're losing 12% of our young people each year when the state average is 3%. So Georgia loses 3% each year. This district is losing 12% of young people aged in the district. So young families are moving to McDonough's, they're moving to Henry counties, they're moving outside of Savannah, and even outside of the state, because our district isn't providing those, the pay, the livable wages they need. It's not providing the amenities they need to raise a family. So one of the things I want to do is create Georgia's Ag Valley, and this will be a part of the district that operates essentially just like Silicon Valley. We all think about Silicon Valley when it comes down to technology and computers, and so I want to harness our agricultural industry. I want to harness the technology industry and harness our HBCU industries with Fort Valley, Albany State, and even our other PWIs, and create Ag Valley, whereas this is the center of agricultural marketing, agricultural advertising, agricultural social media. Our rural towns can be backdrops for folks on TikTok. There's this whole rural wave that folks want, they want that rural aesthetic. And so if we can provide that opportunity, that can open up a tax basis for rural counties who are struggling, to pay their bills each month. And so thinking about out of the box ideas that attract new people here, that put our people to work, that also put our veterans to work and working on rural broadband. So this project kind of touches every single part of this district, and we need kind of like that draw, that anchor piece that we're all working towards in this district. And so I want to work with our farming and livestock and ranching communities, also our tech sectors, and also our university sectors to figure out how we can make this happen. And I think we put this in one of the poorest counties in it, and to explode that economy around this Ag Valley. And so that's what I want to start talking about. And that's what I haven't heard like big picture ideas. I've heard, from what I've gathered, it's like we're managing decline, we're managing poverty, we're managing this and all of that.
You said we're managing decline
and managing poverty.
You know what though,
and that was really an interesting statement. What I always, when I hear, like, here's another thing that I hear. We put energy, I hear people talking about putting energy into why are the young people leaving, right? They say, well, why are the young people leaving? Why are they going elsewhere? Why are they going to McDonald's? But I never hear people put energy into why are the ones that are not leaving staying. Yeah. And I think that's a very interesting outlook that we must take a look at, because if the ones that are staying into a situation that the ones that are leaving finds that's keeping us in decline, that's keeping us in poverty, then what is it that making the young ones stay? And are they supporting a failing idea? What's making them support what the ones that are leaving call a failing idea? What makes them stay?
That's a good thought. Like, honestly, just to kind of spitball it, just, real, the cost of living, I think that's what a lot of other, so I talked to folks I graduated with, in high school and middle school. And so a lot of folks, now that we're entering 37 and ages 40, a lot of folks want to come back home. They want to take care of mama. They want to, they want to be around family. They've had a chance to live in Las Vegas for 10 years, or they've had a chance to start a career in Huntsville, Alabama. But now they want to come home to their family plot, their family land. They want to be around their cousins. They want their kids to grow up, around their families. And so I think the issue is when they come here, are they going to have housing? Are they going to have housing that's appropriate? Are they going to, is the school system going to be operating at its optimal level? Are we going to have jobs that are comparable to what they're coming to or whatever? And so
you mean not just for a few, you mean holistically and not just for a few? Because I think a lot of the ones that stay make the machine that's forcing the younger people out stronger. That's what my point is. The one that is that what's happening?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part.
I'm saying, seems to me that a lot of the young people that are staying are joining the same machine that's forcing the younger ones out that you speak of.
The other thing though is, Danny, and this may be on the local level and such, and I may get in trouble for saying it because I'm getting ready to say something real ugly, but
some Lord,
that are staying are not equipped to go any other place but just stay home. Okay, and that is a challenge within itself. So it is a very complex thing, but we do have what I call like brain drain, and you've got to have something that attracts them. It attracts that mind. Because a lot of people get those degrees or get those trades and stuff, and they do go.
Yep.
Look,
I
was gonna say, look at Emily. I don't know if we can say it, but look at Jimmy. He left. He's gonna be leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And why is he leaving? Because he has more of an opportunity. He's not leaving Georgia, but he's moving to a different place because of economics.
Because the few slots have been filled. So the slots have been filled.
And these people and young people are not like my tradition. I'm a baby boomer. They don't stay at a job for 30 years and stuff. If that job ain't right, they gone. That's right. Okay.
You're exactly right.
That's what them young people do. Them young people are not gonna fool around with you. They're not gonna play around with you. They're always looking for better, and they will leave in a minute.
Well, it's not that they're even looking for better. I think that there's a climate, there's a culture that's pushing the narrative. I even heard someone say, no young person, nobody should stay at a job more than 2 years. And I think that that's why everything is all over the place. There's so much chaos because these young people don't value the traditions of the old. It was a reason why our elders stayed at a job for 30 or 40 years, retired, got pensions, 401ks, et cetera, et cetera. So now you have people, the younger people that, they give a resume, they're 24 and they have 8 jobs on their resume.
Yeah.
That doesn't look good for a person. You're coming for a position that's paying 6 figures. I want to know, why would I put energy into training you? What would I put money into training you? Looks to me, when I look at your resume, you're only going to be here a year. So they don't.
Go ahead.
Mhm. I was just saying they're not teaching that. The elders are not really pushing for our young people to understand why they should stay in their community and work in their community, why it's important to, get the education, reach for the job, stay at the job so that you can be the one that creates the change. It's just a disconnect all across the board.
And we also have to acknowledge too, we sort of ignore, but we have to acknowledge too, like when Brenda, you were referring to what the baby boomers did. But see that these people have so much more knowledge of things that the baby boomers did not have. Like the baby boomers did not have the internet to know that there were 1,500 other jobs just like the one you got here in Macon, and that pays you much more than this job. So the accessibility of information is so much different now. That has a lot to do with it as well. It's an
almost
obvious
to our own detriment, because sometimes too much knowledge is not good.
And too much information without knowledge. I'll put it that way. They've got so much more information now, but they don't have the knowledge of where that information is going to lead them.
But one more thing to that Emily's point or whatever, like I totally agree with you. We ain't staying nowhere long or whatever. But again, this goes back to like, if you're in a place of employment, do you see your path? Do you have a room to grow level? And can you see yourself the director in 15 years? In more cases than not, you can't see yourself in that place because, let's just be honest, folks are not retiring, the way they ain't gonna say that they should, because there is no real you should retire at this age, but folks are working a lot longer than they worked in past years. And so somebody that's climbing, that's striving to go up, once we look at a path and realize, okay, I'm going to have to, this person's not retiring no time soon. I got a choice to make. Do I stay here and wait and hope and wish that they retire? Or do I try to go and pursue another angle somewhere else where I can, where I can see like my ascension to the top or whatever. And so, I'm not saying that's an excuse, but that is something that I hear a lot. And personally, I have experienced that as well.
But is that a product of the younger generation's need for instant gratification, the younger generation's need for, I don't want to put in the work and the time and the effort to see the reward, to see the payoff, or to earn the payoff. They want the instant gratification. I have a 26-year-old son, and sometimes I have to tell him, you're exactly where you're supposed to be as a 26-year-old young adult. I don't know why you think you're supposed to have what I have. It took me 44 years to get what I have. You've only been here 26. So I think that the culture is teaching the young people that they should be able to go on a job, work there for 2 years, and be in a senior level position. That's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. And it's an unrealistic expectation that they're pushing. And the young people it's just not good. It's not going to end well, especially with AI starting to take over, AI starting to take jobs. Like I'm telling my son, hey, sometimes you need to pay attention to what's going on around you and know when it's time to stay put.
Now, Danny, you talked about using AI in bringing some silicone type tech, I guess some tech positions down south. And I think that's an awesome thing. I'm a big AI girl, I use it a lot. Yes, and I realized one thing
incorrectly.
Got a phone call. We have a phone caller. We have a phone caller.
Oh, hello, caller.
This is Sharon Hurt.
Hey, Sharon.
Hey, Miss Hurt.
Sharon.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Awesome.
Good.
Turn your radio down, please, Miss Sharon.
Well, it's my phone.
Miss Hurt, we got about 4 more minutes on the air.
Oh, okay.
Make your point, please.
Oh, I was going to say thank you all so very much for hosting this talk with Danny. He is actually incredible. But I wanted to talk about the current incumbent. We've got to lead these younger folks. And what happens is that that seasoned people stay in the jobs, they stay in these positions too long, that we are not making that, we don't have those succession plans that are needed for there to be seamless transitions from one to the other. And that's the reason why Danny is running now. I recall here in Nashville, where I am, we had a senator who was in diapers, who could not walk, he could not talk, but they voted him in again because at one point in time, he was the pillar of the community. He was wonderful and for the community. But when he got to that point, he no longer could really truly serve. We did ourselves a disservice to keep him there that another term and not lift another younger person up. This is the time right now for us to do this, because as you see, those people on the other side have their plans together. They are executing their plans, and they're doing exactly what they want to do. We got to get a strategic plan together. We need the baby boomers and the veterans and everybody else to rally around Danny, lift him up so we can push on to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hurt.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Miss Hurt. Miss Hurt, that Miss Hurt just got me. You hear me?
Miss Hurt,
She said diapers.
That's
She
TSU.
said, what did she say? She said diapers and what?
And couldn't walk.
Couldn't walk. Had to be pushed around. And again, everybody deserves dignity. Everybody deserves the dignity and respect in their elder years. And so, yeah, we want to make sure.
You know what?
That's individualistic, though. Either way it comes down to it, when you just say they, it's not every seasoned or elder or older person in office shouldn't be eliminated from office just because they're a certain age. Because sometimes a young person you're trying to put in the office ain't qualified ain't for your good.
But let me just say, what he's talking about is correct. She's correct, because it's about a succession plan. We don't have one, and we're not grooming young leaders. Point blank, we are not grooming them.
Hey, my name is Danny Glover. I'm running for Congress in Georgia's 2nd Congressional District. I would love to have your support, your vote, your financial contribution. Please go to my website, DannyDGlover.com, to leave a comment. I want to connect with you. Invite me into your home. Let's go grab some coffee. I'm not going to do this in a vacuum. We have to open this thing up and bring new voice to the table. Thank you, Miss Brenda. Thank you, Emily. And thank you to my TSU man, Mr.
You've been listening
to
We got to bring Dan back. Monday evening from 5:30 to 6:30. All of a sudden, with your host, Brenda Sutton. That's every Monday. We'll see you there.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry.